bish bash bosh, here we go at the park. So obviously due to the current climate, we're currently unable to get to the parks and be at the parks and make at the parks. That was a lot about the parks. So we're trying a little something different here today, myself and George, and we're going to do our combined top 10 coasters. So without further ado.
Okay, so you may be wondering how we actually come up with the combined top 10. It's pretty simple really. We've got both of our individual top 10s and ranked them from sort of obviously best to worst, and it's sort of how they are, and basically did a point system, and based on which had the highest points, we sort of went in the higher place, and that's sort of how we got to it. So it's pretty simple really, but now we'll actually get into the top 10. So
okay, so in at number 10 is the Wicker Man. This is a GCI roller coaster that opened up at Alton Towers in 2018. That obviously contains that huge Wicker Man theming element that burns most of the time when Merlin aren't trying to save a buck. But it's fantastically themed. The layout is wonderful. It's a GCI Twister style layout, so it's got lots of ejector airtime, S-bends, twisty moments. You pass through the structure 3 times, near misses. It's got a fantastic pre-show as well. All in all, it's a great all-round themed coaster and definitely deserves to come in at our number 10.
So coming in at number 9, we have Red Force. This is a Intamin launch coaster, opened in 2017 at Ferrariland as part of the PortAventura World theme park. So personally, I think it's a very different coaster from other top hats that I've ridden, such as Stealth. I mean, we won't really talk about the height of that, but you know, so that it can speak for itself. As this does actually feature an LSM launch, a linear synchronous motor launch, which obviously means it's more gradual than a hydraulic, which is obviously more of a sudden launch. But I think when you do actually get up to that 112 kilometers an hour, you're definitely going at some speed, and there is some good airtime over the top. A lot of people say there isn't, but there is an element of floatiness over there. So personally, I think it's a really good ride, to be honest. Very smooth as well. Coming in at number 8, we have Nemesis, located at Alton Towers. Absolute classic, this ride. I mean, opened in 1994, created by the legend himself, Mr. Wardlow. Absolutely brilliant, man. As far as he goes as calling it his child, I mean, even rode the thing before it had even been tested. Like, he literally got on the first ever train. Very terrain-based coaster this though, very intense, pulls about 4.5 Gs around the helix, features 4 inversions. Personally, I think it's an absolute great ride at the Towers, one of my favourites there. And yeah, I'm obviously manufactured by Bolliger and Mabillard, the Swiss coaster company. Great ride. Personal opinion on it, I think it's definitely up there. It's definitely up there. Brilliant.
Number 7 is Colossos Kampfgiganten. This is an Intamin prefabricated wooden coaster that opened up at Heine Park in 2019. The original Colossus obviously opened up in 2001, but we're on about Kampfgiganten here. So when myself and George had the pleasure of riding this huge woody... Oh, Jesus, right, hit it.
Giggity, giggity. Giggity, giggity.
When me and George had the pleasure of riding this large wooden roller coaster in its opening year, we couldn't help but see a couple of similarities to its flaming brother. Well, I wonder if they were possibly built by the same company who wanted a bit of a 2-for-1 offer. No, but in all seriousness, it's a great layout. It's very large out and back sort of L-shaped layout. Passes through another sort of large theming element, and it's got loads of ejector airtime. It's a fantastic coaster, really nicely themed now as well, so I'm a big fan of it. And so is George.
And at number 6, we have Shambhala, located in the main park of PortAventura World. This coaster was opened in 2012 as Europe's tallest coaster. It was the I think it's got a 256 foot tall, 78 meters. Absolute class ride. The airtime, it's brilliant. The airtime is indescribable on that coaster. Does have a special place in TPW's heart. I can definitely understand where you're coming from, Sean. Honestly, mate, it's great.
God, that's a strange creature in there. Look at that. Listen.
once again, butter smooth, considering it's been open for, 8 years now. I think it's definitely, it's aging like a fine red wine, as me and Kyle would say. Great coaster, pulls brilliant airtime, very intense at the same time. Theming isn't great, but I definitely believe the layout makes up for that, and theming a hypercoaster is quite difficult as well, so yeah.
In at number 5 is The Swarm. This is a 2012 B&M wing coaster that opened up at Thorpe Park. It's another coaster that's supposed to have a flaming element by Merlin. I mean, it still sort of sometimes does. I mean, as all the ones we listed do. It's really lovely, greatly themed. It's themed to like an apocalypse, obviously, so it's got all of the destroyed plane and fire truck and helicopter and ambulance and everything you could imagine. All burnt up and all scattered around a church, all burnt as well. So it's really nicely themed. It's got a really nice floaty sort of layout, quite large, imposing, intimidating structure. And yeah, it's all in all, it's fantastic. It definitely deserves to be in our top 5.
At number 4, we have Flug de Damonen at Heide Park in Germany. This ride was opened in 2014 to the public. I think it's brilliant. I actually do prefer it over the Swarm, believe it or not. They are the only two I've ridden of B&M wing coasters, but this one is more intense. Definitely packs a punch, definitely worth the ride. I mean, once again, that demonic knot designed by Mr. Wardley himself. Great ride, pulls brilliant G's, and yeah, honestly, I think definitely worth the ride if you get the opportunity to ride that. Just very intense, great overall experience when I rode that last year with Kyle.
So, getting into the top 3 now. Well, number 3 is The Smiler. This is an absolutely fantastic coaster. I've loved it pretty much since it opened. I followed the construction when it was underway, and I rode it for the first time in 2014. Didn't ride it in 2013 because, a couple of bolts flew off and a couple of wheels flew off and struck people. So it was always closed when I went. I went 3 times, and every time it was shut. But yeah, The Smiler is obviously a 2013 Gerstlauer Infinity Coaster. It was the first Infinity Coaster, and it's at Legoland. Oh, wait, hang on, I've pronounced that wrong. Oh, no, it's at Legoland. Okay, that makes sense.
You belong to The Smiler. The Smiler, the world's first 14-looping roller coaster. Book now at altontowers.com.
No, but it's a great coaster. It's got 14 inversions. It has the inversion record. I really love it. It's a bit of a Marmite coaster. Some people don't really rate the Smiler too highly, but personally, I love it. I think it's fantastic. It's really up there for me, and George as well. It was my number 1 coaster for from 2014 to 2019, and George's from 2018 to 2019. So pretty much when we first rode them till last July. As I said, yeah, I love it. It's got 14 inversions, got a really sadistic sort of weird theme as well. It's fantastic.
At number 2, we have Taron at Phantasialand. Opened in 2016 as part of the newly themed area Klugheim, opened alongside a rake, the Vekoma family boomerang coaster, I believe. I mean, that's good, but we're here to talk about Taron, so obviously brilliant coaster, absolute. The airtime, the intensity, the immersion. I mean, if it wasn't for that theming, I don't know where it would be. I mean, the theming aids it so much, but the layout as well is still a solid 8-9 out of 10. I mean, it's brilliant. The theming is so amazing, so much so me and Kai have actually put it as our favourite park. Phantasialand, it's just brilliant. Taron, by far the best coaster on park. I can't even describe it, it's that good. Brilliant.
So finally in here for our number 1 coaster. What is mine and George's combined number 1 coaster? It is both our individual number 1 coaster as well. We first rode it in July 2019. It is the Karnan. This is a massive Gerstlauer Infinity coaster opening up in 2015 at Hansa Park. and it's just incredible. The immersion, the theming that it all has is absolutely fantastic, and we couldn't recommend it enough as being one of the best roller coasters on earth. Everything about it sort of built up with story and theme and immersion. Even simple things like putting your bag in a baggage hold has a story and a show and a theme around it. Your row being selected has an amazing sort of show element to it. When the ride kicks off up a vertical lift hill, you then fall back down it. It's got my favourite first drop in the world, a twisted 90-degree drop out through a building. All in all, it's a fantastic coaster. The outdoor layout, plenty of airtime and twisty sections as well. So it's absolutely fantastic. Hidden Heartline roll, everything about it just has something you wouldn't expect. A little hidden element, a little something more to it. And I think that's probably why it has got to the point of being both of our #1 coasters. So yeah. So that's it for this top 10 video. Obviously, it was something a little bit different. I hope you still enjoyed it. And if you've got any ideas for what kind of content you want us to put out while this shit house is all going on, then put them down in the comments. And we'll be sure to check them out, see if they're possible, stuff like that. So thank you all very much for watching this, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you.